We see a girl who goes and lies down on the ground. As the heat increases, the girl becomes like a dry cloth due to the heat. And then we see that this girl is thrown into the water and is brought back to life. These are three immense suns, and when they rise together, the heat here increases tremendously. That's why people here have learned to live like this. The story starts back in 1966, a time when things were changing fast, and there was a lot of rebellion going on. There was this old school professor still teaching the same old physics rules, and the young folks had had enough of it. They confronted him in a big meeting, right in front of everyone, including his daughter Yuwenjia. She saw it all happen. Now, fast forward to 2024, all the way to London. News was spreading like wildfire that scientists were realizing they got their research all wrong. Something had flipped the script on physics, and it was messing everything up. Even big-shot scientists were losing their minds over it, some even giving up their lives. The projects they were working on, the ones that made the world so advanced, all came to a halt. The government wasn't paying much attention to the chaos, so they sent in a sharp British intelligence officer named Dashi to figure things out. He ended up at the house of a scientist on his deathbed. The poor guy had strange countdown numbers on his wall, and he'd gone so far as to hurt himself badly and gouge out his own eyes. Meanwhile, in a lab somewhere, there's this scientist named Saul still trying to make sense of it all. His research had hit a dead end, and he couldn't figure out why. Was it his fault? Or did something huge happen that nobody saw coming? Then there's Saul's colleague, a fellow scientist, deep into some experiment. She talks to Saul, and in the next scene, she takes a tragic fall into what seems like a well, and her life ends right there. When Dashi hears about this, he starts keeping tabs on the other scientists in their group. He figures the next one in line might be in danger. He notices a pattern. The scientists working on the big projects seem to be the ones getting bumped off. One of them is Jean, studying something called the multidimensional field. Then there's OG, a scientist from a big company. The two scientists, Augie and Jean, were deep in conversation about the strange deaths happening to their colleagues. They couldn't wrap their heads around it. Even weirder, the new formulas they'd come up with, following all the physics rules, were failing miserably. Before going further into the video, our target is that whoever watches this video must subscribe to this channel. So support us, and please subscribe to this channel. We hope you won't let us down. You will definitely accomplish our target. Suddenly, Augie spots a countdown out of the blue. But when she asks Jean about it, he doesn't see a thing. That really freaks her out. The next day, she confides in Jean again, sharing that she's seeing these countdowns glowing gold, something nobody else can see. They're stumped, and the whole scientist gang discusses it, but nobody has a clue why Augie's seeing this. Feeling stressed, Augie steps outside the hotel, and out of nowhere, this girl appears, chatting with her and casually smoking her cigarette. And then she drops a bombshell. She knows about the countdown. Augie's shocked, wondering how this girl knows. The girl, Tatiana, spills more beans, saying Augie's next on the death list when that countdown hits 0, just like the others. Augie's like, "Whoa, who are you?" Tatiana spills that she's got a way to stop it. Shut down the nanofiber project Augie's been sweating over. But Augie's torn. She's poured her heart into that project. Tatiana's like, "Look up at the sky tomorrow night. The universe will give you a sign." To get to the bottom of this, Augie and Saul hit the road at midnight. Lo and behold, the stars start blinking in some sort of pattern, like they're sending a message. Saul scribbles down the code, and Augie sees it matches her countdown. Next thing you know, it's launch day for Augie's nanofiber project. With just a minute left on her countdown, Augie rushes to her boss, pleading to halt the project, and lo and behold, her countdown stops too. It hits her then. All those scientists who died were given the same ultimatum: stop their research or face the consequences. But Augie's left with a heap of questions. Who's behind this scheme to halt human progress? And what force has flipped the physics rulebook upside down? Meanwhile, Jin's at her mom's place, reeling from her colleague's death. Her mom hands her this super high-tech helmet she cooked up. Jean takes it home, puts it on, and bam, she's in virtual reality. It feels crazy real, like she could touch and feel everything. But it's also kinda unnerving. She ditches the helmet and spills the beans to her buddy, Jack, the next day. Jack's blown away by the helmet's specs. No way anyone could make something like this now. Jin's clueless how her mom pulled it off. So, to test it out, they both slap on the helmet and dive into virtual reality. It's like a game, but with wild, wacko disasters, scorching heat, freezing cold, gravity going wonky. People there figured out the drill, though. They hibernate through the tough times and splash back to life when the coast's clear. The game's all about figuring out the physics behind the wacky weather. Jean and Jack ace it, 'Cause, they're science whizzes. Turns out, this planet they're in doesn't play by the normal rules. Nope, it's got not one, but 3 suns in its solar system. And these suns, they spin around real quick in the same orbit. When they line up, it's like a heat wave from hell, setting the place on fire. Once Jean and Jack figure this out, they level up in the game. Next level, they stumble upon big shots like Isaac Newton, trying to crack the 3-body problem. Basically, how those 3 suns dance around the planet. They see these brains cooked up a computer with help from the locals to tackle the problem. But Jean and Jack figure out something crucial. The 3-body problem? Can't crack it. It's a brain buster, unsolvable. Just as they're wrapping their heads around this girl pops in, praising their smarts and hinting at meeting the game's creator if they nail the next level. Scene change, we're back in China, where the military scoops up the professor's daughter. She starts off as a grunt, but catches their eye with a science article. Soon enough, she's in their secret base, learning they've set up this massive transmitter to ping potential alien pals. But there's a hitch, it's weak sauce. The military figures out if they aim it at the sun, it'll amp up the signal, maybe reach other planets. 8 years pass, and then bam, a message from the aliens. The daughter's mind's blown. The aliens dropped a bomb in their message. If humans reach out again, it's game over for our society. Yi Wenjie, who'd been losing faith in humanity's kindness, saw how we're messing up our world. So, she tells the aliens, hey, take charge. Save the planet, and I'll help however I can. Back in the present, then there's Dashi, handing over this top-notch helmet that hooks into your brain. He figures it's made by someone scouting for smart cookies, cause it measures your skills. He chats with Augie, asking why she slammed the brakes on her project. She spills, saying she's seeing countdowns, and if she keeps going, she's a goner, thanks to a tip from some girl. Dashi's cool about it, showing her footage. The girl she talked to? Deleted. But he noticed something fishy. Augie didn't light her own smoke. Someone else was there, which makes him buy into her story. Dashi turns to Augie, sharing his own worry. Who's bending the rules of physics? And why bump off scientists to halt progress? Together, they set out for answers. Next scene, Jean and Jack score a sit-down with the game's maker after acing level 3. Surprise, it's Tatiana, the same girl Augie crossed paths with, but she's MIA in the footage. Tatiana spills the beans. These helmets? They're like talent scouts, picking out the brainiacs. She drops a bomb. The game? It's real. There's a planet out there, 4 light years away, with 3 suns pulling a cosmic dance. Everything Jean and Jack felt in the game? Real deal for those folks. And get this, the aliens reaching out through the helmets? They're not little green men. Nope, they're rocking human disguises to make nice with us. But time's ticking for them. Those 3 suns are gonna toast their planet soon. They're eyeing Earth as their new digs, launching a fleet of ships to touch down in 400 years. She tells these aliens are reaching out to smart humans, aiming to coexist peacefully on Earth. There's a secret squad doing the aliens' bidding, led by Tatiana herself. They're putting the brakes on Earth's tech boom and knocking off scientists to keep humans from getting too powerful and posing a threat to the aliens. Jack's fuming. Why betray humanity and cozy up to aliens? He storms out, while Jin's game to help Tatiana. Then Jean scores an invite to a shindig where she'll meet the bigwig running this secret squad. Flashback, Yi Wenjie invited aliens to Earth, giving away our location, unbeknownst to everyone. She teams up with a billionaire named Mike who's all in on the humans are demons train. He thinks aliens could save us from ourselves. So, they set up shop in America, with Mike splashing cash on ships and antennas to chat with the aliens, all while staying under the radar. Back in the present, Jack bolts from Tatiana's pad to his place, with Tatiana hot on his heels. If you're not on our team, you're toast. Then she offs Jack and vanishes from the cameras. With Jack gone, Jean sees the light, spilling the Dashi and the big boss about Tatiana's shady moves. She's out of Tatiana's crew pronto. Even knowing Tatiana might come after her if she bolted, Jean weighed her options. Dashi had a plan. Play along, gather intel, and help nab the cult aiming to summon aliens. Nail the cult leader, problem solved. Flashback to Yi Wenjie and Mike, old pals setting up alien hotline antennas for 5 decades. Mike's aged, feeding the aliens human progress reports. His cult's ballooned into a big deal. But when he spills about humans fibbing, the aliens ghost him. They figure humans are untrustworthy, tough to coexist with. She's at the cult meetup, per Dashi's orders. Surprise, her dying friend's mom's the head honcho, the one who offed her own daughter. And get this, Wenjie's actually the old lady addressing the crowd, preaching about how humans stink and aliens rock. They're swinging by in 400 years, and Earth better shape up. No tech leaps, no power grabs, or else. Mid-speech, cops crash the party. They cuff everyone. Tatiana clocks Jin's double cross, loses it, and starts shooting. Chaos erupts. Dashi swoops in, saving Jin, but Tatiana slips through the cracks. As Dashi digs into Wenjia's affairs, he uncovers her secret. She's still chatting up the aliens via her ships, safe in international waters beyond the law's reach. So, Dashi and his boss hatch a sneaky plan. Take out the ship and snag all the data they're feeding the aliens. They rope in Augie for her nanofiber know-how. Augie gets cracking, whipping up her invisible but tough-as-nails nanofibers. They set a trap near the island where the ship cruises. When it sails through, bam! The nanofiber net slices it to bits, taking out the crew, including Mike who tried to salvage the data. Security snags the data, but it's gibberish. Then, like magic, the aliens make it readable. Dashi's boss and Jin slap on virtual helmets, dialing up the aliens. Turns out, after watching us for eons, the aliens pegged us as sneaky buggers. We wage wars, lie, and greedily snatch up power. But hey, they give props to our smarts. We're quick thinkers, always finding solutions. The alien spills. In the last 50 years, humans made way more progress than they thought. When the aliens touch down in 400 years, we might be way ahead of them. To keep us in check, they cooked up some fancy AI tech, covering Earth like a giant computerized blanket. These AI gizmos watched our every move, messing with physics and making fake stars twinkle in the sky. They even offed scientists who wouldn't play ball, ensuring we never out-tech them. Now, the aliens let their AI system loose in the sky, visible to all. It's like a colossal eye, watching us. Jin and the officers peel off their helmets, staring up at the blackened sky, while chaos reigns below. The aliens plaster a message on everyone's digital screens. Humans are just bugs. The real sky's gone, replaced by the aliens' virtual playground. News spreads aliens are coming to wipe us out, destroying all our tech. Panic sweeps the globe. Armies scramble to keep order. The United Nations calls a powwow, hoping to cook up a plan in the 400 years before the aliens land. Jin faces off with Wenjia, acknowledging her as a formidable foe, but vowing not to back down. Dashi's top dog calls a global scientist summit to crack the alien puzzle. What do they eat? Where do they chill? To find out, they need to nab an alien. The Brainiacs hatch a plan. Send a probe to space. Maybe it'll bump into an alien ship. Everyone's on board, and under Jin's lead, they craft a probe that'll zip through space at warp speed. Problem is, it's pricey, and no human can hitch a ride without bulking up the probe. So, they hit upon a grisly solution. Shove a brain in there. But not just any brain. It's gotta be a sharp one. Jin recalls a dying colleague with cancer, willing to give up his last days to save humanity. They load his brain into the probe and launch it towards the alien ship. But at the 11th hour, the probe veers off course. Will's sacrifice? All for nothing. Back to the drawing board. India's top brass steps up, planning a lunar base to duke it out with the aliens. Round 2. Here we come. The scene shifts to Tatiana, laying low and waiting for the aliens' next move. Meanwhile, Dashi rolls up to a UN powwow with scientist Sohun, buddies with Augie and Jin. The UN bigwigs drop a bomb, thanks to the alien AI in the sky. They're watching our every move. No matter what fancy weapons we cook up, the aliens will one-up us. But there's a silver lining. Some brainy scientists figured out the AI's Achilles heel. It can spy on us, sure, but it can't read our minds. That's where the new project comes in. 3 chosen champs, including Saul, are tasked with cooking up a plan to take down the aliens. They're sworn to secrecy, with full authority to do whatever it takes to save humanity. Fast forward, Dashi, Jin, and Saul find themselves in a bug-infested spot. Despite being labeled bugs by the aliens, they're ready to fight tooth and nail for their survival. And with that, the curtain falls on this chapter.